Some of you may ask, why is he cutting the trees with such a tall stump? And the reason for that is that... So I'm getting ready to start clearing out some more trees down here where our septic system needs to be installed, and we've got about half of it done, but there's still a little bit more that needs to be done. And I've been thinking about the whole SHTF issue when the stuff hits the fan, and trying to keep it G-rated as much as possible. Anyway, you know, I don't know exactly where I stand on that. I believe that it's always better to be prepared than not be prepared, but I don't know that I also quite embrace the apocalyptic view that some people do. And but regardless of that, where you stand on it, times are difficult right now. I would say that to some degree it's already happening. I mean, when gas prices are double from what they were a couple of years ago, food prices is going up, you know, people that are living within 10% of their income, where it's costing them, you know, just to live, up within, you know, if they have a 10% margin built in 2 years ago, right now that's probably a negative 10% or a negative 15% right now, just based on what the prices are like. And you know, and that's enough of a SHTF issue for them already. And so I would submit that probably, you know, we're seeing a little bit of that right now, or at least many of us are. And so again, being prepared is better than not being prepared. And we've got this little place down here that we're building up kind of an off-grid homestead on. I say off-grid, we're not completely 100% off-grid, but we're close. We're comfortable enough on it where we're at that, you know, if we needed to, we could detach from the grid in every respect and do just fine. But we still use it a little bit. But you know, we're just getting started with this, and so, you know, it's all about us preparing, not necessarily for, you know, the apocalyptic end of times, but it's making it so that all of the outside factors that it would affect our lives have much less impact on them than they would have, say, a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago, for us anyway. And so I guess my advice is, if my advice is worth anything, is whatever you can do where you're at right now, figure out ways to prepare for being a little bit more self-sufficient than what you are right now. And I remember a story from back about 30 years ago. When we moved to Missouri, I was actually recruited to come down here and work for a company. And I always had this sort of a pride that I was able to, if I lost my job, that I would be able to survive. And I had tools and skills that enabled me to go out and do things on my own. When we moved down here 30 years ago, I sold a lot of that just to avoid having to move a lot of it down here. It was about a 500-mile move for us. And about 2 years, and that was fine as long as my job was doing fine. And about 2 years into it, my job started going south, and, you know, I found myself all of a sudden not prepared to be able to get by with something else if that job failed. And so I started buying tools again. And by the time I had tools built back up, I could basically say, you know, take this job and shove it, because I didn't need that anymore. In some ways in life, that's kind of the way you have to be able to look at your future. The more self-sustainable you are in your skills and your tools, whether that's actual tools like, you know, this sort of stuff, or whether that's tools like canning supplies, or whether that's tools of being able to build a garden. I mean, whatever those tools and skills are, those will enable you to become more self-sufficient in your life and your lifestyle, so that, you know, that doesn't just roll off my tongue real easy. So when the SHTF happens, you're not affected by it so much. So anyway, that would be my advice, I guess, my recommendation. My philosophy is become as independent as you possibly can, become as self-sufficient as you possibly can, and you're affected much, much less by those things. If your dream is to be on a homestead where you can do all of that stuff yourself, then pursue your dream. You know, that They say that the best time to start something like that is yesterday, but the second best time is today. So if you haven't started yet, get started. Roll up your sleeves, figure it out, and get started. Anyway, I'm going to go cut some trees. I'll probably video some of this for you. And, you know, we're just building this up right now. This is June 2022. And, you know, in some ways, SHTF is happening, in my opinion. And, you know, we're still building up ways to counter that. So anyway, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, and stick with us. You'll see what we're doing here. Some of you may ask, why is he cutting the trees with such a tall stump? And the reason for that is that we're not just cutting them to the ground and leaving them. The people that had this property before us did that, and everywhere you turn you run into a stump, and it snags up on something. So we like to leave the stumps about 1 foot to 1.5 feet high. That way we can go dig them out with the tractor, and it gives us some leverage to pull on them with the backhoe bucket. So when you see me cutting stumps and you see me cutting them up high, it's like, well, you're wasting firewood or whatever. That's to give us leverage on pulling them out with the tractor. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and a share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. See you next time.